One day, little Miss Freya was walking down her favorite boulevard, when suddenly, Dio emerged from an empty building. He licked his lips and slowly approached the young madam. "How many breads have you eaten in your whole life?" he asked, clearly aware of the fan service he just provided. He inched even closer, about to jab his fingers in her neck and drain her of her various fluids when, suddenly, the next thing you're going to say is Joseph Joestar, young and supple, fell from the sky and proceeded to do a 2x hamon clacker wombo combo upon Dio's undead face. Miss Freya was surely in delight, most likely saying something along the lines of, "Oh, Joseph!" "Happy grappy, nice to meet you," said Joseph as he inched closer, within centimeters of performing the sloppiest of makeouts with the young artist. "Dad, what are you doing?" Joseph stops and you turn your head to see the fabulous, youthful glow of Josuke Higashikata. Josuke? How can this be if Joseph is still young? The two Joestar men engage in what may be the most realistic rendition of a scrap akin to a Bugs Bunny cartoon. It was quite silly, as Freya let out a confused chuckle. She felt a strange presence appear beside her. Who else but Kishibe Rohan was standing stoically next to her, holding his hand out in the most expecting fashion. The two then performed the highly regarded and quite difficult to master Artist High Five! It would have brought tears to Speedwagon's face if he wasn't old and dead. Rohan removed Josuke from the clouds and slapped him exactly 4 times. After the 4th slap, Josuke punched the arrogant mangaka in the gut, which led the two into a kiss. The sloppy slurping and salivating was either extremely attractive or utterly repugnant to Freya, but she could not turn away. Dio arose from the shock of the wombo combo, his head bleeding only mildly. As Freya tilted her head away from potential boyfriends, she had come to notice that Joseph had begun wearing a dress of a frilly pink variety. The presence of Dio began to alter, as many other Jojo villains kept reappearing and disappearing in his place. Eventually, the changing being erupted into a pile of severed hands. Before anyone had noticed the frantic fly of phalanges, Yoshikage Kira sprang from the shadows and began collecting them like pennies. Freya was utterly confused, but at the same time, amazed at the strangeness that was going on. The sky changed into every color of the rainbow, as frogs and snails and Joestars began raining down. Giorno and Jolene were falling quite slowly, drinking tea and talking about politics. Jotaro was riding a flying narwhal, followed by a trail of starfish. Johnny fell the fastest, but he was caught by Gyro Zeppeli, who had burrowed from the ground. The utter strange and bizarre happenings were too confusing for the young artist, but so delightful. She immediately grabbed a pen and paper and began to sketch the enterprise of Jojo before her. Freya awoke in her bed, as snow was falling outside. She stayed awake for a good 5 seconds, shrugged, and fell back to sleep, to further marvel at the surreality the manga has brought to her dreams.